Do I have to wait?
No, we are actually right now, Krissy, we are live
We're
officially.
live. We're live.
Yeah.
So I should say hi. I should say hello to
Hello
everybody that's
to
watching.
everyone.
We're not just behind the scenes anymore. Here we are live. Welcome to Unlocking Your Book on this fine Tuesday morning. Merry Christmas. What is the date today? Anyway, it's Tuesday, December 17th.
Today's the 17th.
It's the
Today is the
17th.
17th. Yeah.
And here we are. We're excited.
Till Christmas.
8 days till Christmas. I was just telling Jeremiah that my Christmas items are still in storage, and his response to that was to go live right away. So I am exposing that to the world. I have not yet unpacked my Christmas decorations. I found this scarf, and it is what it is because life is full, but you keep going. And we're excited to be with you today.
Totally ready.
Yes, we are excited to help you unlock your book. And so make sure you let us know where you're watching from right now. Where in the world are you? Comment below, share this. Visit unlockingyourbook.com if this is new for you. Maybe you haven't heard about this yet. Maybe you're one of the few, I feel like, because so many are already jumping on board and excited. And we're excited, aren't we, Jeremiah?
Thrilled.
Yeah, we're like over the moon at the response and really just being able, really being able to see how many of you have books in you. How many of you are like signing up like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I need help unlocking my book. Take me by the hand, walk me through this thing. So that's what this is about. You can go to unlockingyourbook.com to check out more information, look at all the mentors that we have. Thank you for joining us from Connecticut, from Georgia. This is really exciting. So we've got our ugly sweaters on today, right?
Yeah. So I'm kind of like eat more chicken here, for Christmas. Eat more chicken for Christmas, which is not, you don't usually think, oh, I can't wait to eat chicken for Christmas. Like we use, turkey and ham and maybe duck. I don't know how many people eat duck. Do you eat duck at Christmas?
Never had duck in my life.
Never. Whoa. Okay.
Never.
So all of you that are watching right now and you've had duck, you need to tell us all about your duck experience. Check it out. I've had duck. It's been a long, long time since I've had duck. Man, we've got people from the Netherlands. Wow.
Yay.
From the UK.
Okay.
It's really.
And we see Melissa all the time. And please write in the comments how to pronounce your name correctly, because I've seen your comments and you're amazing. And we're just so blessed by you. You're always so encouraging, and we know you're receiving from this. Let us know how to pronounce your name, will you? Melissa?
It's Melissa. You have to focus on the L-I-Z. It's Melissa.
I always butcher.
People probably call her Melissa, or maybe they call her Liz. So Melissa, do they call you Liz? Do they call you Melissa? Let us know.
Yes.
Oh, we've got somebody from, where is that?
Oh,
they just moved from Connecticut to Florida.
Moved to Florida. Okay. Hey, a fellow Floridian.
All right, Melissa. So help us. We are going to get into some teaching, but it's Christmas time. We got to have some fun here. All right. So Melissa, you have said that's right. Who's right? I'm right. Krissy's right. Is it, or you're saying it's right? Melissa. See? I was right. Melissa.
I'm so American. Hi.
Well, oh no. Oh, this is. Oh, she just.
I'm right. Yes.
No. Okay. Well, I'm done. I'm out.
I don't even remember how I said it. Melissa. I've got.
All right. So Krissy wins. Hey, we're having a contest today.
I win. Say it again. Krissy wins. It can't just brush over that.
Krissy wins.
Dead air, dead air. Say it.
Moving along. I sense the Lord wants us to move along. Okay, so we do have a contest though today. We do have a contest today. And that contest is we have an ugly sweater contest. Not that we're trying to be like, overly competitive here. Hi, Barbara. Let's see, who else do we have here? Thank you so much. Thank you, Denise. Thanks for joining us. That's amazing. But our contest today is the ugly sweater contest. So here's how you join. All you have to do is take a little selfie. Everybody's saying Krissy wins. Okay, fine. Krissy wins. Okay, we get that. We've moved along. The Spirit of the Lord is moving us, transitioning us to something else.
Right here.
Hi, Kelly. Glad to have you. Thanks for joining us today. The contest is your ugly sweater. All right, so we're both supporting ugly sweaters. I had the gorilla yesterday. Today I've got the steer, cow, moo. Really awesome. Got the little, blue thing here. It even lights up. But if you have your ugly sweater on, take a selfie with your phone, post it in the comments down below. And before the day is over, we're going to choose the ugliest Christmas sweater. And here's what we'll do. So if you have already joined, okay, this is what we're going to give away, Krissy. If you, I really want people to participate in this. I really want some.
Have fun.
Let's have some fun. If you're already a member and you're like, I've already signed up, because what we're going to do for those that are non-members, a non-member that wins, we're actually going to give them the class. We're going to give them a course. We're going to scholarship the whole thing to them. But for those of you that have already joined and you're like, I've already signed up, I've already paid, then what we're going to do is we're going to do a private 1-hour coaching session with that person on their book, on their brand, on their messaging. So Krissy and I will join you, just you, for 1 solid hour for private coaching. So here's what you need to do. Whatever you're doing, stop doing what you're doing and go get your Christmas sweater and put on your Christmas sweater and come back and take that selfie and share with us. So if Krissy's doing like the demonstration, like you did in Sunday school when you were a kid, okay. Put our knees and toes, okay. So, and post it. So take a picture of you in your ugly Christmas sweater, post it. If you're already in Unlocking Your Book, if you're already a family member, then hey, we're going to give you a private coaching session for 1 hour. And then that would be super fun. Lots of stuff come unlocked. And if you haven't signed up, then we're going to scholarship you. So pretty sweet. Okay.
Anybody excited about that? Anyone? They're all going and putting on their ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yeah, everybody's like left and they're like,
yes. So for now, in the intermission, we'll sing a Christmas song whilst you're putting on your. No, we won't.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too. We've already had a lot of competitive things today, and I'm a pretty good singer, so I don't want to make anybody feel bad. So
that's so humble. Very humble.
I'm really, really trying. Oh no, Kelly doesn't have one.
Oh,
Kelly, you just got to go to Walmart. That's where I get most of mine because they're really, really ugly at Walmart. But yeah, you just got to go to Walmart.
Now, I'm a mom, and so she's tugging on my heartstrings here. And I'm like, she doesn't have one, but Kelly would have put her Christmas sweater on, wouldn't you have, Kelly? So she's willing, but she lacks the resource. So do we give them 24 hours? Do we give them an opportunity to can you be creative? Maybe go put some bows and garland on your sweater. Can we do something?
Okay. So Kelly's, okay. So I'm just like, hard line, let's do this. Let's go. And, Krissy, my wife would be the exact same. Don't put the dogs out. It's cold outside.
24 hours.
So I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's go ahead and extend the contest till tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll extend what we'll do is we will close the contest tomorrow, Wednesday, December 18th by noon Central Standard Time. That's US, which is 1 hour behind Eastern Standard, 1 hour behind New York. So we will extend the contest till tomorrow, Wednesday, December 18th, noon Central Standard Time. So
Righty.
there you go. Really, you got time. So again, and this is how you win. If you're already a member and you've already joined Unlocking Your Book, then we're going to give you a free 1 hour. We're going to give you a 1 hour block of coaching. Not free. We're just going to bless you. Okay. And and then if you haven't joined, then we're going to scholarship you into the mentor writing. So,
yay!
And we are closely approaching. We are getting really, really close. First day of class is Tuesday, January 14th. We'll be kicking it off and really, really excited. And then we have 6 weeks of mentoring. And in tomorrow's broadcast, we are going to be talking very specifically about the 3 modules that make up the entire Unlocking Your Book plan. So, Krissy, if you do that and I do it at the same time, that makes it 6. It's confusing. Okay, so you can do 2 and I'll do, there you go. Okay, so the idea here is that we want you to know exactly what those modules are. So we're going to talk about them. For those of you that have not joined yet, we're going to talk about the 3 modules that make up the plan that help you remove the confusion, clarify your message, and write and promote your book. So we'll be talking about the modules in detail tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. But today we want to kind of stay in this vein, really about what God's been saying to us, really the last couple of weeks. And yesterday, with our 2 guests, we had on Brian and Jenna, and that was just, man, I'm sorry, say again?
Gina.
I
always want to say Jenna.
We have a problem with the names, it's like Melissa and, Gina and Jenna. Really, really powerful time. And God was unlocking things for people during that broadcast. And what we want to communicate this morning to you is that, this what you're watching right now, this is just our weekly show. This is just a free show where we're taking some of the content and we're letting you see what it looks like and feels like. On the other side of the paid mentoring group, it's like next level. It's 100 times more. You get way more access, and you also get permanent access because we give you a website and we give you the private Facebook group. So you get all the mentors, all the lessons, all the content, and got a little announcement that we will be talking about. 2 announcements tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff really to talk about tomorrow. That's like the logistics of mentoring. We've been talking so much about the spirit. We've been talking about so much the culture, so much about the atmosphere. But tomorrow, we're really going to talk about some of the practical logistics. Again, talking about the 3 modules that we're going to go through, what it actually looks like, what is the plan, and then also 2 big announcements that we are really, they're not add-ons. They're not something that you pay extra for the class, although when you hear about it and you see them and you look at them, you're going to go, man, because the value is really, really there. It's just included. It's not an add-on. It's not an upsell. It's really just a bonus. It's part of the course, and it has a lot to do with the mentoring part, so that you have something. We're going to be giving every student something that's really going to help them advance into this lifestyle of writing and being an author and penning with the Lord. Because we realize some people, this will be maybe your first book or maybe your one and only book, and that's okay. But we want to continue to walk with people that are going to continue to walk. And this is going to be a lifestyle. This is going to be a journey. This is going to maybe potentially be your vocation and maybe even how you make a living or something of that nature. And so we're going to be talking about that bonus, but then we're also going to be talking about one of the marketing bonuses. So you don't want to miss it. And I'll just kind of tease it. And that's really the website. Like, we're giving you a system, an actual website. And if you're ever going to promote your book and reach people and sell your book, you have to do way, way more. And I'm talking about, over the average. Like the average author, this is a little bit sad, but the average author that writes their book is like 200 to 220 sales of their book. And that's okay, but most of those sales are probably their immediate friends and then some of their family. The idea here is that if you're really going to be able to scale and go up to 3,000, 5,000, and we actually are even going to be adding on modules later on how to sell 10,000 copies of your book, how to do that. Well, you have to have that web presence. You have to have that social media presence. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about that and what you get in the Unlocking Your Book course. Woohoo.
Woo, it's a lot. I'm like, I want to sign up for that, but oh yeah, I am signed up for that. It's exciting. It's so exciting. Yeah. It's all exciting. It takes me back to the beginning of my journey 8 years ago, learning that all of this process and getting in there and realizing the climate of the publishing world today and how to write a book and how to get published and all of that. And I mean, everything you just described that we're offering is absolutely why we're doing this course, because as an author, someone who I didn't have somebody that threw my name in the hat and that's how I got in, you know, it was all the Lord. It was him guiding me step by step by step to, you know, me learning, me watching webinars and reading books and, you know, reading a magazine article, reaching out to the author in that article, like, how did you do it? You know, and just really with the Lord navigating this thing. And so to now be on this side where we have been able to put together something that's a concise, you know, resource for people to gain all of that in one spot. I'm so blessed to be able to partner with the Lord and with you and with Brian Simmons and all of our other mentors to provide this for people. It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah.
And it's only going to grow. This again is not the one-time shoe shine type of class. The 6 weeks of mentoring and those 3 modules that you get from January 14th to February 21st, once you pay for that, once you become a member, that's yours. Whenever you write your book, whenever you promote your book, whenever you publish your book, it is yours forever. You buy it, it's yours. You have access to it. You can download it if you want or keep it on your dashboard, whatever you want to do. It's totally yours. But we're not going to just stop there. And then this is just something we do, you know, occasionally. We're going to continue to walk with people on this journey, because you don't get everything. You don't figure it all out in 6 weeks. It's going to be a lot of information, and we're going to continue to walk with people and continue to help people. So
help you process through what you've, you know, gained. And then it's like, I could just see it. You go back and rewatch some of the courses in 6 months that you've already watched, but now that you've gained what you've gained, you watch it now in the context of the growth and the, you know, I can't think of the word I was trying to say, like empowered with information or whatever. And then you watch some of these courses again and you're like, I watched that, but I didn't get that when I watched it the first time. Now I'm getting that point, you know, because you're ready for it, you know? And so.
Well, I think that's common with anything. I think, you know, like anything where the information is rich, you know, like even you go to church. When you go to church, you know, wherever you go, you know, whenever you go, whatever, that time that you're investing, if you're just sitting there passively and you're just hearing, you don't actually retain it. You don't actually get the information so that it actually becomes something that empowers you to be and do, that actually brings the transformation, unless you take yourself through the application. And that's what this is. People are going to be writing, people are going to be listening, people are going to be watching. We're actually going to have activation time. We do that at our church. We actually have a time, we call it activation, where everything that we've done from prayer and worship and intercession and fellowship and giving and the word and ministry and all of those things, FaceTime, floor time, whatever that is, we have that activation. So we actually start to apply what it is that we have been participating in. It's kind of, you know, the sport analogy thing is, you know, you practice, and even when you're at practice, you go and do individual types of skill sets and drills and things of that nature. But what if you only practiced?
Right.
That would be boring. What if you only just learn the drills around the cones, or learn the drills to shoot, whatever it is, over and over and over and over, and never got to play? That would be really boring. That would be really, really lame. So the part of the activation is, okay, now it's time to take what you've learned and actually put those things together.
Yes, absolutely. That's massive. Indeed. Yeah. Indeed. Well, we have a kind of a carryover of yesterday's discussion, that we just really still feel the Lord breathing on. We talked a lot about inadequacy yesterday and lack and navigating through that. And I mean, having Brian on yesterday morning was incredible. And it was so cool to see the thread throughout, where Gina came on in the afternoon, not having watched or been a part of the morning, and yet what she brought was a continuation of our discussion, as only the Lord can do. And it's so encouraging. But God is really highlighting and wanting to help unlock within each of you your identity, and that grounding you, anchoring you in the person of Jesus Christ, and being able to really look at your inadequacies and not look at them the way the enemy wants to show them to you, as this is my downfall, this is why I can't do anything. But look at them on Jesus. See them, that Jesus bore all of that on the cross so that you could be activated, so that you can do the thing that you can't do, because he dealt with all that. And now you're empowered by the Spirit of God in you, because you're washed by the blood, you're cleaned by the blood. And now you get to walk out this journey of faith and the impossible by the infilling and the indwelling and the empowerment of the Holy Spirit, Christ in you, the hope of glory from within, to do what you can't do. So you can see those things, but they don't have to scare you. They can actually, like Brian was saying yesterday, Brian Blount, they're an opportunity for you to recognize that you're not doing this in your own strength anyway. You're doing this in the strength of Almighty, and nothing's impossible with Him. So
that's right.
Yep.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, and yesterday when we were talking about inadequacy, it was when we hear the word, or we talk about the word inadequacy, I think most of us are wired that as soon as we hear it, as soon as we read it, as soon as we start to meditate on inadequacy, the first thing is the negative connotation, the negative part of being inadequate. And there was a little bit of a twist, a shift, and a trigger where the Lord just kind of redefined some things to really help us understand how to process inadequacy. So there's different ways that we process in life as human beings, as Christians, as believers that love the Lord, that really love the Lord. We process feeling inadequate. Probably everybody processes a little bit differently, but one way is that when we feel inadequate, we can put a strong resistance. We put up strong resistance, a wall to whatever the thing or whatever the situation or whatever the person may be that is attempting to make us feel inadequate. And I want to clarify that nobody can make you feel anything. Feeling is a decision and a choice. So you can't, you made me sad. You made me mad. You can say that, but that's not real. That's not really how it works. Is if somebody does something that makes me feel sad or makes me feel mad, I've decided to allow that thing to dictate how I think about it, and then how I think about it dictates my emotions, and then I'm sad or mad or whatever by choice. So inadequacy, I think the Lord's really defining that for us, and even in the Unlocking Your Book and the mentoring, that one way that we process it when we feel inadequate, one of those ways is we look at it and we kind of want to strong arm. We want to stiff arm. We want to resist the thing or the person. But what we really should be doing is we should be processing that inadequacy, but with the Lord. We shouldn't be processing the inadequacy with ungodly counsel. We shouldn't be processing the inadequacy with something that makes us feel better for a little while. Like we do or don't do something that makes us feel better. What we want to do is we want to lean into the Lord and say, Lord, show me why I feel this way. Yeah. One of the most powerful things that we can pray and that we can do when we feel inadequate. And listen, anybody that would tell you, I never feel inadequate, they haven't dealt with their inadequacies, because everybody, and true servant leaders, humble leaders, ones that really are face timing with the Lord, they will permeate some of their inadequacies. It's not, you don't want to resist those things. You don't want to try to hide your inadequacies. You don't want to fake it till you make it. One of the most powerful prayers that we can pray when we feel inadequate is, Father me. Father me in this inadequacy. And everybody, don't buy the lie that you're the only one. Yeah. That is, the Bible says in Genesis that the serpent was the most crafty animal, the most crafty being in the garden. He was the craftiest, and he will create, and he will position things to make you feel completely insufficient, deficient, that you lack, and you don't actually have everything that you need. You don't have the adequacy. And so one of the most powerful things we can do when we feel inadequate is take that inadequacy and say, Lord, Father me, and be very specific. Don't just talk to the Lord about what you think you're supposed to talk to him about. Talk to him about what you really want to talk to him about. Yeah. And say, Father me in this inadequacy.
It's so good. Man, it makes me think of a good shepherd. And a good shepherd isn't afraid to watch the perimeter of the field. Actually, that's their purpose, is to watch and be aware when something is coming in to devour the sheep, right? And so in being fathered, the Father helps us get that aerial view in our life and really observe the landscape and what's there, and not be afraid to look at it, address it, work through it. And it's part of his father heart. His father heart is his shepherd heart. His shepherd heart is his father heart. And it all works together simultaneously, and it's beautiful. I just saw that picture as you were talking.
Yeah, and he's the good shepherd.
Yeah,
he's the good shepherd of Psalm 23 that says he leads us. As the good shepherd, he leads us to that table in the presence of our enemies. And inadequacy is an enemy. Yeah. Fear and dread and worry, those are enemies. Yeah. And what he wants us to do is, in that inadequacy, is please come. He said, come to this table that I have prepared for you. The food's getting cold, son. The food's getting cold, daughter. I prepared this table for you in the presence of the enemy of your inadequacy. And so that's just one facet of inadequacy. One facet of inadequacy is we try to strong arm and resist the inadequacy, whether it come from a circumstance, whether it come from a person, whether it come from our own values or belief system. We strong arm and resist the inadequacy. But you can't change anything that you're not willing to face. You can't slay any giant that you're not willing to run to the battle. And you're not doing it alone. You're not alone. He's prepared a table, and you can face off with inadequacy. And that's one facet. There's other facets of inadequacy that, we need to talk about those as well.
Yes. Indeed. I mean, I think of, just facing all, I keep thinking of people who want to write, like in the context of what we're talking about with writing books, I hate to break it to you, but you will feel inadequate. And really with any of us who say, there's a call of God on my life, which if you're breathing, there's a call of God on your life, you will feel inadequate. So don't let your feeling and awareness of your inadequacy be the thing that hinders you from doing the thing that God made you to do. That's what we're talking about today. That's what the whole point is. Let him father you through it. Let him lead you beside the still waters. Let him lead you to that table. It's so powerful. I picture as an author, as someone who's just like, I'm on the heels of just finishing my book, but although there's still work to be done, I literally will sit at the table with my inadequacy every single day that I sit down to write. It's me and Jesus and my inadequacy, my can'ts, my shouldn'ts, my, won'ts. They're all there and I'm there. So, but that's the thing. I showed up to the table too. And so in that moment, I decide who's bigger and who's greater. And it's Jesus every single time. He's bigger. He's greater. He holds my hand and helps it right. Or, he's the fire in my fingers on the keys, and so you just do it anyway. You do it in the face of it. That's the shepherd looking at the predator coming for the sheep and not being afraid, to look and see what's coming, but just doing what you were called to do, taking care of, that assignment on your life. So powerful.
Do it afraid.
Yes. Yeah. I think Joyce Meyer said that. Do it scared. And that is just our reality as human beings. It's like, I'm a human being. We're all human beings. That's our reality. Is that we will always be facing those things. God created us with limits. We are not limitless. He's limitless. So he created us. Why would the creator make something with limits without the answer to those limitations? He would. And so what he did is he created us with limits that could only be empowered with one source, and that's him. He's the source to all of our limitations, to all of yours. And he'll empower you with what you can't do, because he is I am that I am.
Yeah. I love that. When we first started developing, Unlocking Your Book, one of the things that was really important to us was to remove the hype and the facade of being an author, being a writer, marketing and promoting and all of those types of things, so that people can actually advance and move forward. It's so difficult. It's very, very challenging to constantly be looking at social media, constantly be inundated with all of these types of messages. If you don't know how to process that and realize that those things are actually changing the way that you think about the Lord, think about yourself. And so then you put unnecessary pressure that God didn't put on you. And when you are functioning in pressure, any kind of pressure that God didn't put on you, then you open the door to unnecessary warfare. So unnecessary pressure opens the door to unnecessary warfare. Who wants that? I mean, I want to be any war, any battle, any fight that God wants me in. I'm there. And the reason I'm there is because I know he's got my front, he's got my back, he's got my side. He initiated this battle. He initiated this fight. And I'm just co-laboring as part of the tool. But man, I don't ever want to be in a battle or a fight where I don't have the unforced rhythms, as the Passion Translation says, unforced rhythms of grace. The unforced, you don't have to muster it up. So penning with heaven and penning for the Lord, sitting with the Lamb, leaning in and listening, just getting into that place, which is what we're calling people to, getting into that place. That's the unforced rhythms of grace, so that everything's from overflow. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That doesn't, I mean, we just, we had Lana Vosser on here last week, right? And, if Lana's, watching or listening, I'm just going to pick on her just for a minute. You go to Lana's Facebook page, and very frequently she has a solid, concrete word from the Lord that is full of integrity, full of character, and has weight. And I don't like use names and things like that, but there are other ministries, whatever, that they have a gift and they have a calling and they have anointing, but they're not functioning from the unforced rhythm of grace. That stream, sorry to say, isn't pure. It's not pure. There's some mixture in it. And sometimes that's just, we all deal with that, in our own life, our own ministry, our own relationship, our own humanity. But removing the facade and removing the hype, that's what this is about, is getting super, super real with the Lord and super, super real with yourself. And then what happens is you see that stream starts to function and come through your life to minister and touch other people in that capacity of unforced rhythms of grace. I don't want to have to force anything. And so for those of you that are already in Unlocking Your Book, that's the culture. That's what this is. That's what we're building and we're creating. And I'm not saying, Lana's perfect or anything like that, but man, you can look at that. You can look at her words, and then you see, she's written a book, an amazing book, and she's in the middle of writing another one.
Yeah.
And then she gets on, and you look at that and you go, man, how could I possibly do that? The way the Lord speaks to her, and it's right on, and it's not forced, and there's so much grace and there's so much purity in your mind. You think, oh, I could never do that. I could never write like that. And then she gets on for 30 minutes and shares with us where one day she wrote 4 lines.
Yeah.
And her number one prayer was, help, God.
Yeah.
Yes. That removes all the facade and all the hype, that we are all human, and each and every one of us are called. I don't really know that it's, are you called to write a book? It's probably, are you called not? Are you called not to write a book? Because you definitely have something to give. It doesn't matter if you have a full-time job, you're in corporation, you're a single mom, single dad, it doesn't matter if you're, 15 or 85, whatever. Probably the question is not, am I called to write a book? Probably the question is, am I called not to write something? Yeah. And you may not have to write, 40,000 word book or 50,000 word book or any of those types of things, but definitely your stream, your unforced rhythms of grace, people need to hear, people need to see. Do you have something?
Do I have something to add?
Everybody has something to give. Everyone has something to give.
Everybody. And it's like, there almost needs to be this precedent established where the given scenario is all of us who are writing currently, actively, I'm authoring and writing. I go through stuff. She goes through stuff, and she's a good friend of mine. And, and I know her heart, and I know, stuff, just the stuff. We all are going through stuff, and we're not broadcasting the stuff on Facebook, because what we broadcast, what we put out there is the breakthrough. We promote the breakthrough. I'm not going to promote can I say crap? I mean, you just go through stuff. Right. I'm not going to promote that, because I'm not going to give glory to that. And so everybody who's watching, you're not seeing all of the stuff and the chaos and the attack and the warfare that we're enduring, because what we're putting out there is the declaration of the goodness of God. That's what gets out there. That, for me, that's what Facebook is for. It's for his goodness. It's for his power. It's for his strength. But there's got to be this understanding that if we're breathing, we're going to be going through stuff. So none of us are immune to the junk. Jesus said, in this life, you will have trouble. Mm-hmm. He said that. Some of his last words on on planet Earth were, in this life, you will have trouble, comma, but take heart. Be of good cheer. Be of courage. He has overcome the world. So we go through the trouble, but we go through it with the overcomer. We go through it because I live and I move and I have my being in him. And so I know that I'm going to go through stuff. And the more you're risking, you're putting the deeper out in the water and into the unknown you get, then the heavier the waves, the greater the winds. I don't use Christian cliches when it comes to this stuff that rhymes and sounds good. I like to describe it because it's more weighty, and it actually, your brain receives it better. The more further out into the deep and the unknown, you picture the waves, the waters. You go out on a cruise boat and you're way out there in the water. It's everything is bigger and more chaotic and deeper, and so you're gonna experience more, lots of warfare. So just be encouraged to know that we're all going through stuff. We're all pushing through the stuff. So anyway, I just really wanted to say that. But when you were talking, Jeremiah, you're one of those, because you're a pastor. You actually helped me a few months ago walk through, and you said to me, "Don't take on unnecessary warfare." And I had never heard it put that way before. Unnecessary warfare. I'd always thought about false pressure. Only I can put pressure on myself, but the unnecessary warfare, that's revelatory for some. And I was just really, the Lord highlighted that. I wanted to ask you if you'd kind of break that down a little bit more for people who've never heard that before, what that means and how it's practical for them.
Yeah. Now, I can't take all the credit because it's actually something that very specifically for me and my wife. And one of the ways that when something gets, wrought into your life, worked into your life, it actually becomes who you are. Like, you are able to assimilate it, and not just in your mind, like, oh yes, that's good, I would really like to do that, I'd really like to walk like that. You do have to go through some warfare and some challenges in order to assimilate those types of things. So in order for you to even function in a place where you're not participating in unnecessary warfare, you have to go through unnecessary warfare. So unnecessary warfare, it really, the insight that the Lord did for us was really out of John 15. About that he's the vine and we're the branches, and apart from him we can do nothing. And this is we really have to use wisdom. We really have to use discernment, because I think so many of us believers and Christians, when we're writing, when we're ministering, when we're moving forward in something, when we're doing our day-to-day lives, as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, as an employee, as an employer, whatever that may look like, that we're allowing way too many voices in our life. We're allowing way too many things to really help establish our value system. And so when you live your life from that place of John 15, not just, oh yeah, praise the Lord, hallelujah, Jesus is the vine and I'm the branches. Not just that we like it, it sounds good, but actually, how do I position my whole life from that perspective of John 15, where I am letting God dictate to me and encourage me and lead me, and keyword here, father me, to start to remove voices that shouldn't be in my life. Sometimes those voices are just man, they're wounds and trauma that you've been through. Sometimes it's because you're actually allowing too much media or different things, whether it's, radio or television sometimes it's people. And you have to be really, really careful with this. You can't pigeonhole people and make them the source of your warfare, unnecessary warfare. You can't do that. You have to go back to John 15. And so what it really means, unnecessary warfare means that if I abide in that place, then I am listening to and I am participating and I am engaging and I am assimilating his presence, his stream, his life, and his voice, so that those other voices don't dictate to me how I'm going to react, how I'm going to respond, how I'm going to do life. I live here on planet Earth. It's natural, it's practical. There's lots of, the sun comes up, the sun goes down, it gets hot, it gets cold, bills have to be paid, babies have to be fed, we have to pay bills, all of these types of things. But God doesn't function from our realm and from our time clock. He doesn't function from that capacity. He's not limited like we're limited. And so unnecessary warfare simply means that I don't engage in any war. I don't engage in any fight. I don't engage in any battle that he has not, from John 15, that he has not called me to. You simply choose your battles wisely, but you choose the battles from that perspective of Jesus is the vine. And I'll just read it a little bit out of the Passion Translation. In John chapter 15, you really should read the whole thing. You should read all of John 15. And so, I know that, we're talking about, writers and authors. And so here's how you move out of the unnecessary warfare from your life. Let's just go right to verse 4. In John chapter 15, verse 4, it says, "You must remain in life union with me. For I remain in life union with you. As a branch severed from the vine will not bear fruit, so your life will be fruitless unless you live your life intimately joined to mine." So that's how we only participate and engage in the battles and the warfare that God has called us specifically to. Maybe the battle that God's called me to, God hasn't called Krissy to. Maybe the battle that God's called your pastor or your friend or your cousin or your sister or your neighbor or someone else in your church or someone else even that you really love, he hasn't always called you and assigned you to the same thing. We're all called to the same life union. We're all called to abide in the same vine, but our job here is really to stay in that place so that we're bearing fruit. And that's what the enemy is after with unnecessary warfare. He wants you to be fruitless. And just go on, and I really, really, really love the next few verses. I'll read it and then we can chat a little bit. Jesus says in verse 5, "I'm the sprouting vine and you are my branches." What he's saying is I have the responsibility as your vine to give you the sustenance of life. It's my job and I love that job. You're my branch. Jesus said, "You're my branch." So don't go get your source. Don't go get your life. Don't go get your stream anywhere else. He says, as you live in union with me as your source. This is the next part of verse 5. As your source, fruitfulness will stream from within you. But when you're separated from me, you're powerless. And so that's where we find ourselves in those situations. We're like, man, this is so heavy. This is so hard. How did I get into this place? I'm just getting smacked. I'm just getting whacked. And, sometimes the reality is the warfare is strong. Yeah. It's heavy. But, and that happens to everyone. But the attack or the strategy of the enemy is in those times is to quickly find a release. I need something to just make it go away, make it feel better, get that peace. And what God is saying is, listen, live in union with me as your source, and fruitfulness will stream from within you, so that you have the power. And so that's really that's just, a little bit of, unnecessary warfare. You don't have to participate in every battle. Let God tell you what battle you're supposed to be in.
That's so good. I'm laughing because it's so good, and it's literally that's what I've just been walking through. And I mean, and I'm talking through where I didn't let it keep me stuck or paralyzed or like through. But when you're writing, when you have an assignment on your life, you better believe there will be many opportunities for unnecessary warfare. And so you choose your battles with the Lord. Father, am I to be engaging in this? Yes or no? Because it's not maybe. And I think we live in that maybe. And that's where a lot of the unnecessary warfare comes in, because I'm living on the line of uncertainty. And I'm just this whipping post for the enemy and all of his jabs and his warfare and junk. And yes or no, God, and so then when you're out of the maybe and you're in the yes, God said so, or the no, I'm not to be in this, you are not going to be receiving those jabs and those blows, because if God's called you to engage, he's empowered you with the shield of faith, to protect you and guard you. And he's infused in you authority and power to rebuke, those attacks. If he's told you not to engage, then he's now brought you over to this wall of fire where he places you right in the middle of it, and yes, surrounding you is a battle, but he's not had you be engage in it. That's where I was with writing my last bit of my book, the last 3 months or so. Right there, God said, do not engage. God actually removed me before there was a problem. And he then put me right in the middle of this firehouse of his presence. And I lived in that place. Yes, I felt weary at times because my flesh, like my mind, I was very aware that there were things going on all around me with people that I love and such, And so in my flesh and in my own, even mama heart, I'm like, but the Lord said, do not engage. The Lord said, stay focused and take the assignment seriously, finishing my book. And so that's what I did. And he shielded me, and I didn't take on unnecessary warfare. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to do that as an author, as a writer. Take the assignment seriously and ask the Lord what you're supposed to engage in, and let that be that.
It's not that the blow of the enemy isn't going to come. It's that the effect lessens and lessens. The more life union, the closer you get into intimacy, the less the effect of that blow. It softens more and more. And it's not instant. It's not instant. You get stronger and wiser, and you have more discernment, and the more intimate you get, this is where everything changes, where the scripture says, no weapon formed against me will prosper. So you read that and you think that it's been preached to you, you're like, man, I sure feel like these weapons, they've been formed against me, and they are really prospering. They're stopping me. I'm getting bumped. Stuff's coming out. Things are happening. This is not. It's because of unnecessary warfare. No weapon formed against me will prosper. The reason that it doesn't prosper is not just because you're a Christian, not just because you're a believer. The weapon is certainly going to be formed. There's no doubt. The enemy will launch attacks, circumstances, situation, all of those things. But the blow of it, the effect of it gets less and less. And then eventually you're so caught up with the life union. You're so caught up in his presence, his face, his voice. You're like, no, I don't want that voice. No, I don't want that face. No, I don't want that presence. So things really start to shift. You start to recognize, because you create God awareness for you, you start to realize that that conversation that I have with these people, and it's not just those people, but that sometimes the conversation is actually pulling me away from my life union. And so then it puts me into this place where I'm more vulnerable and I feel that blow. Or maybe I'm, and I'm not talking about like watching like really, really bad stuff, but man, that particular show, it doesn't even have to be like a bad show, but there's just something on it that you're watching, or a movie, or participating in. And it's just, but it's pulling the life union. And so you put yourself into that position that where the blow of the enemy, no weapon formed against you is going to prosper, but you still feel the blow. And it can really kind of take you out for a little bit. We don't have to. I really believe we can be oblivious. Not oblivious to the enemy, but just, man, so tuned in.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, think about when your kids are little. My kids are, they're all grown up and stuff like that. Man, when they're like little, like a little tiny baby, they're just like newborn, and you're talking all gibberish and goo goo and gaga, and they're cooing and stuff. Man, their eyes are just locked to you. They're just locked to you. And anything that you're doing, they're just right there with you. They're just looking. And they're oblivious. They're not thinking about bills. They're not thinking about food. They might be thinking about food, but they're not worried about anything.
Yeah.
They're not worried about anything. That's why they teach, that's why you child-proof your home. Because the kid's not afraid to stick that fork inside the electrical outlet. They're not, I remember one of my daughters, we have 4 children. One of my daughters, I turned my back for just a second. Literally half a second. And she's a baby barely walking, and she steps right into the pool. She can't swim. And when and of course, once I got to her and everything, she was under the water and she's just looking. They teach babies, right? They take babies and they teach because they don't have that fear. And that's what God wants to do with us, is he wants to bring us back to that place as that little infant child, that child that's not worried about all of the external things. It doesn't feel the blow of the warfare. They're just in such life union with their father, with their mother. The fact that they're being held, they're being taken care of. And that is how, man, imagine if you were writing from that place, just, soaking in that place. And then you got your handy dandy notebook. And as you're in that place, you start to write. And man, you could write from that place alone, you could write 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 words a day, just from that place of just that life union of just soaking with him. 1,000 words a day, month and a half, you have 40,000 words. I'm just saying. And maybe it doesn't even actually become the book, but man, you would learn so much about being in his presence.
Yeah, absolutely. Relying on him, needing him. That's what that life union is our connection, our need for the connection, our awareness of our need for the connection, and the remaining, the abiding, the life union. Yeah. Never getting away from that place. It's almost like, we're maturing in the Lord, but yet the umbilical cord is still attached, because he's my source. And so I'm getting all my nourishment, all my everything from him. It's beautiful.
You said the key word. You said nourish, and in John chapter 15, verse 9, the latter part of it. So Jesus says, I love each of you with the same love that the Father loves me. But then Jesus says to the disciples, John 15, verse 9, he says, continuously, let me continuously nourish you with my love. Nourish your heart continuously. And that's how you overcome the unnecessary warfare.
Come on. That's good. That's like, drop the mic.
Isn't God good?
He's so
Man,
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
Yes.
Praise Jesus.
We were talking yesterday about inadequacy and identity and things, and you alluded to Nehemiah. And so I don't know if you want to go there and talk a little bit about Nehemiah with everybody.
Yeah, we could. I'm almost wondering and thinking if we just touch on it just a little bit. We could touch a little bit on the real practical inadequacies. The first part of feeling inadequate, to writing and penning and the assignment of the Lord, any assignment. We talked about stiff arming or putting up that resistance, but then there's also kind of this false humility of feeling inadequate, and where I'm really not enough. God doesn't love me enough. I'm not gifted enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. All of those types of things. But the inadequacy is really something that we need to identify with. That this is how desperate we are for Him.
Yeah.
You know what? That's right. Okay. Yeah, I don't have enough money to do this, Lord. Okay, I don't have enough energy to do this. I don't have enough strength in myself. I'm not smart enough. I love what Brian said. Brian Blount yesterday. He was talking about, like his education, right?
Yeah.
He had a 9th grade education, and I totally identify with that. I didn't even get my GED until I was 24 years old. So I identify with that. Even still, spelling. I mean, thank you, Jesus. My wife taught me multiplication tables, all that kind of stuff. So what you don't have what you need,
right, outside
outside of Him. And so, the whole thing with Nehemiah, and gosh, talk about an amazing call and how he answered the Lord, but then he had tremendous resistance in the midst of that building. He was he received this tremendous opposition on all sides, but he was still able to rebuild the wall. I think we should talk about it a little bit. Maybe we can cover a little bit more. But basically, this is if you read Nehemiah. Here he was, he's just a servant to the king, and he sees the walls of Jerusalem that are torn down. And he doesn't receive like a prophetic word. He doesn't go through this training. It's just, he sees it and his heart is really, really gripped. He's really, really touched. And he weeps and he cries out and he begins to connect with God and he starts to intercede and he starts to pray. He sees, and it's not just a need. He doesn't just see a need, but something grips his heart. And so you don't always have to have this, bright light experience encounter. You don't always have to have this prophetic call or this prophetic word. Nehemiah didn't have that. Nehemiah actually saw something that was going on in the kingdom. And he made a conscious decision and said, this is not right. We got to do something about this. And he did not have the money. He didn't have the people. He didn't have the team. He didn't have the budget. He didn't have the training. He didn't have any of that. But then he cries out to the Lord. And as he starts to cry out to the Lord, actually it says in verse 4, it says, when I heard these things, I sat down and I wept. And what he heard is that the wall of Jerusalem had been broken down and the gates had been burned with fire. So when he heard that, he sat down, he wept, and he mourned, and he fasted, and he prayed. And he said, Lord God of heaven, the great, awesome God, keep your covenant, keep your covenant, and let your ear be attentive and your eyes open to hear the prayer of your servant. And it goes on, blah, blah, blah. But what's really amazing is then God starts to just send him all of the provision. Think about that. That's probably a whole lot like being a writer, a whole lot being like an author.
Yeah.
You see something, you hear something just kind of pricks your heart, and you're like, man, Lord, we need to slay the giant of fear. Lord, we need to help people come into the reality that they're created for the impossible. And then you start to move forward, and you don't have the budget, you don't have the time, you don't have the resources, you don't have the team, you don't have the people, all this kind of stuff. And God's not looking at all of that. Yeah. He's really looking at your obedience and you moving forward. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, Nehemiah doesn't just take up an offering and a few people throw in a few bucks. The kingdom, the king that had actually put them into that place of slavery and put them into that place of bondage, then became the provision to have this all rebuilt. And it's amazing. And then, if you know the story, then incredible opposition. And I think we should at some point, get into this a little bit more, but he gets into some incredible opposition where people from the kingdom, the Samaritans and the Philistines and the Ammonites and all that, they really came with letters, with words, with accusations, with attack while he's trying to build. So don't think just because God gave you the word, gave you the book, gave you the message, you fasted, you prayed, and the provision. Yeah. Don't mistake the provision as everything's okay. You bet the enemy is going to come. Yeah. You bet the enemy is going to oppose. But here's what's beautiful, and then I'm just, we can kind of wrap things up. Do you know how long it took him to rebuild this? To rebuild the whole wall, despite the opposition, despite he had no budget, he had no team, he had nothing. He really didn't have a blueprint, didn't have a plan, didn't have experience. He rebuilt the whole thing, the wall, in 52 days. In less than 2 months, the entire wall was built back up.
Yeah, impossible.
Because of the unforced rhythm of grace. God just came. And I would encourage you, if you're really struggling as a writer and an author, go read the life of Nehemiah and read how his heart was just so pricked and, was really, really moved, and he cried out to God. And then as the provision came, the opposition came, but he, like you've been saying, Krissy, he showed up. He showed up. And what he built was not just for him. Yeah. It wasn't just for him. It was to protect. It was to reestablish that stronghold and that protection around God's people. So whatever you're building, whatever you're writing, whatever you're penning, it's not just for you. It's kingdom. It's to set people free. It's to protect people. It's to lift the lid from other people's lives to help them get unlocked.
Yeah. Amen. That's good right there. I mean, that's so free. It's so true. I have nothing to add. I'm like a sponge right now because you've just described the journey beautifully. As an author, penning with Jesus, the opposition will come, and but God will still do the impossible through you.
Yeah. And writing a book looks pretty impossible to most of us.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to cost money. It's going to take time. It's going to take resources. I don't even know the next step. Well, that's what unlocking your book is really all about. We're even us right now, we're building a haven per se, a refuge. That's what unlocking your book is. It's a refuge. It's a place. It's a family. We're not even calling people clients and customers. We're calling them, members and family, because we're trying to build something that becomes this refuge where, and we're going to talk way more about this tomorrow. The 3 modules. In module number 1 is that mentoring. It's the super, super safe place where you can get into John 15 life union, face to face, unforced rhythms of grace that are just flowing from you. That first module of mentoring, which is so critical. And that's what we're building here at unlockingyourbook.com, so that you can actually get clarity on the assignment. And that's what we're here to help you do. So we're excited, so excited. So if you haven't signed up, well, first let's do this. Those of you that have signed up, would you just give us a shout out? Let people know what you have experienced already in the private group. We haven't even had our first class yet. First class is Tuesday, January 14th. But if you're already one of our members, hey, let everybody know, let us know what you think, how you're enjoying it. Things even that we can improve on, please make a comment below and let us know. And if you haven't signed up, we've made this really, really simple and very affordable. There's a fee to it. It costs money because we're giving you a tremendous amount of value. And not to toot our horn or anything, but I've had some conversations with people like, man, this is really, really inexpensive. You're giving all of that. You're doing all of that. I was on the phone with a pretty well-known Kingdom entrepreneur guy here a couple of days ago, and he was checking it out, and he was like, wait a second, the marketing and the website is included, all of that for that price? And, we're building something. We're growing something, and that's it's what the way we believe that God wants to do it. But for those of you that have not joined yet, if you are just hearing his call to come deeper and to pen that assignment, we want to invite you. We made it very, very affordable. Unlockingyourbook.com. We are even allowing people to make payments. We want it to be affordable. We want to make it as simple and as easy for people to come in and join us. And we are getting ready to rock and roll. It's almost Christmas. And, you might even want to give this away, to get this as a gift. If you know someone, they're called to write and they've been talking about it. This is everything. It's just the right amount of everything. It's the mentoring, it's the coaching and the lessons so that you can really unlock it, write the book, and then promote the book. And then we have some cool little things coming in the near future where we're going to talk about how you can even get this thing published. Well, praise the Lord. God is good. We've got some amazing things coming up. Now, Thursday, who do we have on Thursday?
We have Dr. Melody Hilton with us on Thursday morning.
On Thursday. And then Friday, we have Jennifer.
Jennifer Evaz, yes.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, so. Dr. Jennifer Evaz will be with us on Friday afternoon-ish, somewhere in there. So cool. A full week.
Yeah. So those of you that are watching, come back. We'll be here again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We have extended the little ugly Christmas sweater so you can post it. All right. Well, thank you, Krissy. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
I have a guest
right
now, right here. My little puppy decided to make her debut. Say hi, Lainey.
That's a puppy?
Well, I call her a puppy. She's 2 years old.
What's her name?
Lainey.
Hey, Lainey.
She sleeps up every now and then. You might hear her snoring when we're doing this. She sleeps over on her little.
I have 3 dogs. My dogs go nuts. My dogs, I couldn't have them in here. They would be all over the place, just going nuts. So
she woke up. So okay, but yes,
we're so blessed to have you guys. Thanks to everybody for being with us. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks so much for joining. If you have not signed up, don't wait much longer. The price is going to go up. Go to unlockingyourbook.com. We love you. We appreciate you. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Bye.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.